News has emerged from Germany today showing Porsche is, well, they're in trouble. Let's be honest, let's be frank. Porsche was already in trouble last year, and this year it's gotten even worse. Shockingly to me, the mainstream media, car websites are not reporting on this at all. They're pretending as though none of this is actually going on, which I find very odd. Now, I want to mention, guys, I love Porsche cars. I actually really do. I don't have any axe to grind against Porsche. This is simply information that I think everyone needs to know about what's really going on. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. Great to have you with us. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. Porsche issued a profit warning on Monday evening after the stock market closed and adjusted its forecast for the current fiscal year. Instead of revenue up to 40 billion euros this year, the sports car manufacturer now expects revenue of around 37 billion. So a decline of probably nearly 10% after revenue fell last year as well, drastically. The operating return on sales, a key metric for assessing the profitability of automobile manufacturers, will be only between 6.5 to 8.5%, which is very low for a premium sports car manufacturer. 6.5 to 8.5% profit. Porsche originally expected profits to be from 10 to 12%. They've dropped their profit margin range by around 40%. That's massive. By comparison, this means in the best case scenario, Porsche would achieve a profitability similar to that of Volkswagen volume budget brand Skoda last year. This is really, really unexpected from the industry for this to be happening. But I have mentioned on the channel quite a few times, this is what's happening to legacy automakers. Their profits are crumbling in the face of massive challenges from Chinese brands, and particularly not just from Chinese brands, but from Chinese brands in China. The quarterly figures presented this morning were correspondingly modest. Operating return on sales in the first quarter of this year fell to 8.5% compared to 14.2% in the same period last year. That's a pretty big drop. Profit margins falling from 14.2% to 8.6%. Sales shrank slightly by 1.7% to 8.9 billion euros, or just over 9 billion. Porsche's CFO, among other things, said the macroeconomic situation is really difficult. He said the company cannot completely escape it, but we are counteracting it with all of our might. For years, and for a very long time, Porsche was the most profitable brand in the Volkswagen Group, with operating returns well into the double-digit range. Even last year, when the first difficulties were already becoming apparent, Porsche still achieved an operating return of 14.1% for the entire year, compared to 18% the year before. So that gives you an idea, guys, of what's really going on here. Porsche profit margin was 18%. Right? That's normal for Porsche. Normal year is 18%. That was 2023. Jump to 2024, it falls to 14.1%. Jump to 2025, profit margin has fallen to 8.6%, and Porsche is predicting it might go as low as 6.5% this year. That means profits have fallen by a staggering amount, 18% down to 6.5%. Porsche cites special effects as special effects, not from a movie, but special issues or whatever, as reasons for the current profit warning, and points to challenging areas in key strategic locations, electromobility, EVs, and the two most important sales markets, China, number one, USA, number two. And I mean, yeah, Porsche's going to have a really tough this year in China and the United States. Obviously, Porsche, well, they don't make cars in America, so they're going to have to be paying these massive punitive tariffs. At the same time, Porsche is spending money on battery software and vehicles. That's going up, and their profits are falling. Cell production is not coming as well. Now, battery activities are currently being realigned, says Porsche, and this will cost Porsche €500 million more than planned this year. The investment agreement between Porsche and battery manufacturer Varta stipulates that Porsche will invest in the development and production of large format cylindrical lithium-ion cells, basically like what Tesla used, 4680 battery cells. The sports car manufacturer intends to use this to secure its supply of high-performance cells. But due to weak demand for Porsche's electric vehicles, the media says weak demand for electric cars, which is completely untrue. Electric car sales have risen by more than 30% this year. But weak demand for Porsche electric cars, Porsche is shelving plans for cell production, meaning it'll pay more for its batteries. According to a company statement, the production of high-performance batteries originally planned near Tübingen by its subsidiary Cellforce will not be pursued. So that's a big issue here. Porsche is continuing to struggle with declining sales figures in China. The profit warning cites challenging market conditions, which are not going to get any better this year, and declining demand in the all-electric luxury segment. Is there declining demand in the all-electric luxury segment, as Porsche claiming? No. A judge would throw that out. A judge would say, Porsche, what are you smoking, you idiots? There's a huge increase in demand for luxury electric cars in China. This is Porsche saying, if it's another brand, it's not luxury. That's exactly what Porsche is saying. Porsche is saying, well, our cars are luxury, but if it's a Chinese EV brand, then they're not luxury. I mean, Zeekr, they're not luxury. Just because someone bought a Zeekr instead of us, that doesn't mean it's a luxury car. So that's basically what Porsche are doing. It's a sort of a way of preserving their ego in the face of huge challenges, which I think is a critical error. This is the sort of area where you don't say to yourself, you don't lie to yourself and say demand for EVs is going down, so it's okay, it's just demand is going down, because that's clearly completely false. You say to yourself, okay, why are people buying our cars, not buying other cars instead of ours? Why are they making that decision? Porsche says it is striving for value-oriented sales, which has never said that before, in China, and wants to balance supply and demand. Currently, the dealer network in China is being thinned out. In other words, they're getting rid of 30% of their dealers in China because demand has gone down. While Porsche sold up to 96,000 vehicles annually in China, it used to 96,000. And if you consider the reality here, China's car market is much bigger now than when Porsche was selling 96,000 cars. Well, now it's dropped to 57,000 last year in 2024. So Porsche market share in China has fallen drastically. And in fact, it's fallen even more in the first quarter of this year. US tariffs will have a huge impact as well. With its high-priced electric cars, Porsche cannot keep up with the strong local competition in China. Former CFO Lutz Meschke has repeatedly indicated that the Chinese market may be largely lost to Porsche. I mean, what? 40% of Porsche's profits come from China. 40% of their global profits. And Porsche's CFO is saying, we're going to lose China. We're finished in China. I mean, that's huge. Additionally, the new forecast takes into account the impact of the punitive tariffs imposed by the US on imported vehicles for the months of April and May. Further potential burdens cannot currently be quantified. So Porsche has no idea what's going to happen in the US. And I think none of us do either. Now, Trump's tariffs, though, are particularly expensive for Porsche, but that's just one problem. Really, in addition to the burdens from the restructuring of its battery activities and the weak Chinese market, I mean, Chinese car sales are up, but Porsche's aren't, US tariffs are having a very negative effect. Porsche has not yet passed on the 25% surcharge from Donald Trump's administration since the 3rd of April to customers. We're talking about a low three-digit million amount for the months of April and May, said Porsche CFO Jochen Breckner in a conference call on the first quarter figures. This is a big issue. Porsche profitability is collapsing, not just in China, but also now in the US, because they're not passing on the 25% tariff. Why are they not passing it on? Because they don't think their sales will maintain if they do. Breckner from Porsche declined to confirm reports that cars were being held back at ports in America, which they are. I mean, Porsche is holding cars back, just praying that Trump's tariffs will be removed from Germany, which I don't think they will be. Production and logistics claims have been optimized with tariffs in mind. Goods continue to flow into the market, said Breckner. So he won't respond to the fact that Porsche actually is holding cars back. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, hoping things would change. Customer-specific vehicles will be delivered as planned, though, says Porsche, while stock vehicles will be adjusted to meet demand, whatever that means. Conversely, however, this also means that fewer cars than usual are reaching dealers. So if fewer cars than usual are reaching dealers, it's because Porsche are clearly holding them back, hoping that Trump will change his mind. Porsche had recently recorded significant growth in the US, but that is now really declining. So what's the solution here? Well, a lot of people say, well, Porsche can just make cars in America. It's a piece of piss. It's really, really easy to do that. Yeah, no, it's not. Relocation of production to the USA, for example, to a joint plant with sister company Audi, is not an option at this time, says Porsche. So if you're one of these people that I've seen it thousands of times, oh, the Germans, they don't care. They'll just set up a car factory in America. It's easy. It'll take them a couple of months and they'll be fine. I've read this kind of stuff everywhere by uneducated idiots. And that's why I really recommend, if you read the comments on a YouTube video, research to find out if they're full of shit, because probably 50% of the time they're actually just talking out their behinds. Porsche's complex manufacturing processes and low production volumes make this too expensive, say Porsche themselves. I'm going to reiterate that. This is not the Electric Viking. This is a direct quote from Porsche. We will not be manufacturing cars in the US because of production volumes. It doesn't make financial sense. So that won't be happening. And it won't be for other manufacturers as well. The burden of tariffs is still lower than going and setting up a factory in America. That's what Porsche actually said. Brechner made it clear, however, this could change in the future. Maybe, depending. Now, Porsche is also warning of massive profit declines and sales declines in China. The Taycan, the electric Taycan, in particular, remains far below expected unit sales even after the new version. So Porsche are thinking, we make this new version, which is actually quite a good car. To be fair, I'd love to own one. But in China, people are saying, no, what's the point? We can get other cars that are nearly as good and they're 1/10 of the price. So Porsche expects another difficult year in China. While sales in 2021 were close to 100,000 units, Porsche expects less than half that this year. Only 9,500 vehicles were delivered to China in the first quarter. Brechner expects just over 40,000 for the full year. Sales will fall, they're saying, by 60%. That's crazy. The company has already responded by reducing its dealer network by about a third, as I mentioned before. What does this mean? Well, job cuts. As historic as the multitude of difficulties are, so too are the figures presented. Porsche achieved an operating return of 8.6%, as I mentioned before, and they have to cut staff as a result. There's word going around, Porsche will cut staff. They previously eliminated 2,000 jobs in Stuttgart in Germany. It looks like thousands more could go as well. Here's what Porsche have said, though, in response. We will offer combustion engines, plug-in hybrids, and electric vehicles in parallel well into the 2030s. Is this the right strategy? I don't know. But honestly, Porsche, I believe they're still going to be around in 10 years. They just won't be selling anywhere near as many cars. And in addition to that, if the future is fully electric, as now most experts are claiming, then Porsche is going to factor into that future far less than it has factored into the past. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Bye-bye.